back, everybody. Unit 6, Giving to Others. Today we're going to do listening to. Okay, can you open your textbook at page 137? Very good. There we are, listening to the mystery donor. First off, of course, we're going to go over our vocabulary. Some people who donate money want to be publicly noticed and thanked. Others prefer to donate quietly and anonymously. This is an informal radio report in which a mystery donor explains the reasons why she gives money away. Okay, let's read the words and phrases in the box and see what the meanings are. Fly under the radar, have access to, inspiring, tend to focus on, and think outside the box. What do you think those words mean? Please write it down. Okay, did you write the meanings down of those phrases? Good. Then we're going to complete the sentences below with a word or phrase from exercise 1 and see how we can complete each sentence. There are 5. Let's try the first one. If they want to help others, most people, yada yada yada, charity organizations in their own community, tend to focus on, yes, if they want to help others, most people tend to focus on charity organizations in their own community. Very good. Okay, you can finish the other 4. Go ahead. That brings us to the comprehension. So in order for you to be targeted, focused in your listening, please annotate every sentence and answer choice. Circle, underline, or highlight every keyword so you know what to listen for. Go ahead. Very good. There we go. While you're listening, you can answer straight away, take notes, but remember to focus on your keywords.
Something about winter and all those family gatherings must be inspiring us. Half of all charitable donations are made between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Or maybe we just realize the tax year is about to end. Some people, though, have the giving spirit year-round. Amy Radel introduces us to an anonymous Seattle resident who's become something of a guerrilla philanthropist.
I had just done a story about a welfare mother who was having trouble feeding her children when I got a phone message. The woman in the message, let's call her the mystery donor, said she would like to do something anonymously to help the woman in my story. She ended up paying off a $1,200 light bill to keep the woman's power from being shut off. Her career as a benefactor really began after she lost her husband.
My husband died about 3 years ago, and I had access to more money than I needed for expenses. So it was an opportunity to start giving money away.
At age 58, the mystery donor lives in a pretty but not extravagant Seattle home. When her husband was alive, they gave money but tended to focus on established charities. Now she acts on her own. Altogether, she donates a quarter of her income each year, and she says that amount will increase over time. She says she often gives secretly because she's learned that money can change relationships. Her first secret donation was to a massage therapist she knew.
She was a single mother, and so this was really important work. And she broke her leg. And anybody who's been a single mother, as I have, knows what a catastrophe looks like on its way, and that looked awful to me. So what I did was to give her some money anonymously through having a cashier's check from the bank sent to her from another town.
These small personal gifts often go to helping single mothers. Their experience echoes her own years ago.
I know what that feels like, to feel desperate and need to care for a child. I was poor as a single mother for a period, looking for a job, and had a 1-year-old. And I do recall the one night where I had to decide whether I could buy tuna fish or diapers, and it was down to that before I got my next paycheck. Of course, we got the diapers.
She describes the past 3 years as a learning curve in the art of philanthropy. She contributes hundreds of thousands of dollars each year to her cause of choice, sustainable farming. She belongs to a group, the Women Donors Network, that put her in touch with a University of Montana professor named Neva Hassanen. Hassanen had created a program to help local farmers supply the school's cafeteria food. The mystery donor wanted to help expand the program to other institutions. Hassanen says she then proposed having AmeriCorps volunteers work with other colleges to replicate it.
And so we approached this donor with this idea, and she loved it, was very excited, and it was in fact her prodding that got us to think a little bit outside the box.
Hassanen says working with these freelance philanthropists has its advantages. They're more flexible and responsive than big foundations, she says, who can sometimes push their own agenda. The mystery donor says she may create a foundation one day, but right now she enjoys the freedom that comes from giving on her own.
I really love flying under the radar and writing checks, without having a structure. I certainly consult with a lot of people around what I do to make sure my judgment is as accurate as it can be, but right now this other way is good.
Even when helping someone she knows, the mystery donor says she doesn't feel the need to ask whether they've received her gift. She says these gifts are more like being a secret Santa, where secrecy itself is part of the charm. In Seattle, I'm Amy Radel for Marketplace Money.
Please check your answers. Very good. Okay, that brings us to the listening skill, which is identifying the purpose of examples. Examples are often used. Radio reports often include them as well, spoken by different people. These direct quotations have various purposes. For example, they may explain the reporter's statement or engage the listener's emotions. It's also used for evidence. Let's listen.
Her career as a benefactor really began after she lost her husband.
My husband died about 3 years ago, and I had access to more money than I needed for expenses. So it was an opportunity to start giving money away.
Amazing that there are people like that, right? Why does the reporter insert the donor's own words instead of reporting the idea herself? The reporter states a fact and then includes a direct quote in which the donor gives her unusual reason for becoming a philanthropist. Now, that is very nice because it will explain the situation to the listener, right? It makes it more clear. So when people use examples, they use it maybe just to engage the listener's emotions, give more explanations so that people will understand, and they will give it as evidence. Okay, now it's your turn. You listen to the excerpts and circle the most important reason the reporter uses the mystery donor's own words. Okay, here we go. Excerpt 1.
These small personal gifts often go to helping single mothers. Their experience echoes her own years ago.
I know what that feels like, to feel desperate and need to care for a child. I was poor as a single mother for a period, looking for a job, and had a 1-year-old.
Okay, why does she insert the donor's words in her own voice, and why is that? To explain the situation to the listener or to engage the listener's emotion directly? Okay. Excerpt 2.
The mystery donor says she may create a foundation one day, but right now she enjoys the freedom that comes from giving on her own.
I really love flying under the radar and writing checks, without having a structure. I certainly consult with a lot of people around what I do to make sure my judgment is as accurate as it can be, but right now this other way is good.
Very good. Answer the question. Is it A or B? Okay, that is about understanding the reasons why people include examples. Yeah, the purpose of examples that are included. Very good. Okay, that brings us to the last part of the listening, connecting the listening. So we're listening to the first listening 1, and the audio of listening 2. From there, we're going to correlate the information, make a connection, and conclude. So this chart includes information from listening 1, which describes general information about who gives money, and listening 2, which describes the specific case of one philanthropist. So fill in the missing information. Wow, do you still remember? Now you can go back to the audio that you listened to in listening 1. It's not in here, but you can look for the video unit 6. Yeah, and you go to listening 1 and you can listen to it again, and the audio we listened to just now. Okay, I want you to fill in the missing information. Typical donors and the mystery donor. So the typical donors is listening 1, the mystery donor is listening 2. Number 1, who volunteers or donates money? 2, why do people give? 3, what background factors cause people to give? 4, who receives the money or time? 5, who does the giver how does the giver feel? And 6, does the donor prefer to be public or anonymous? Okay, you need to pause your video to do this. Go ahead. Great, as you have already filled out the chart and seen all the facts from listening 1 and 2 and how they are correlated, we come to the point of synthesizing, where we are using that information in order to create something new. Now we're supposed to role play an interview between a reporter from the Chronicle of Philanthropy and the mystery donor. Okay, sadly we cannot do that today, but I would like you to read through it and see what you could add to this conversation. Okay, if you have anything to add to the conversation between the reporter and mystery donor, you can write that down below. Very good. That brings us to the end of our lesson today. Awesome, awesome. What did we do? We went over our vocabulary. Yeah, the phrases fly under the radar, have access to, inspiring, tend to focus on, and think outside the box. We had to complete the sentences. And then we listened for comprehension by annotating and being targeted in our listening to focus on the keywords to know what to listen for. And the listening skill, identifying the purpose of examples that are used by people. They are used to explain someone's statement, or to engage the listener's emotions, or just to be used as evidence. Then we connected listening 1 and listening 2, correlating the facts and creating a role play, which we didn't play out, but which I asked you to add your ideas to. Very well, that was all for today. Thank you very much. You are amazing. God bless you. Bye-bye.